Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Hey everybody, I'm Lady Cheryl. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this episode, I'm going to share with you how I am transplanting some of the seeds that I grew. Started off with them outside germinating, and then because it got too hot, I brought them inside in my grow room and put them under grow lights. And now I'm going to transplant them in a raised garden bed. And I'm also going to show you some seeds that I broadcast outside with my grand angel Bria, and they came up in about 5 days. Okay, let's get started. Okay, guys, it's Monday morning. I almost said Saturday. I don't know why. It's a holiday. So here's my noble spinach. I'm going to go in closer. Bria and I planted it less than a week ago. As you can see right there, it's coming up nicely. I'm going to get it off the ground and probably put it on the table. And we're back in the house because I just see phenomenal growth in the peas. Let me minimize. Beans growing up the trellis all around. And I started to remove the shade cloth. Since we're in the 90s now, I started to remove the shade cloth, and I said, oh, I don't have my phone. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to remove the shade cloth here. And I'll bring you back when I'm finished. So I've got the cover off, and you can see the clear blue sky. Everything looks good. So I think everything can take full sun. As you can see, the crispiness of the turmeric when it was way past 100 degrees. As long as it's not 100 degrees, everything should be fine. I'm going to share something with you, though. I noticed that I still have some remnants of spider mites. Remember, they were in this bed and I treated it, but obviously there's some still here. It's not bad, but they can multiply very fast. So I will be treating them, all of the soil and plants with neem oil and water. And I think this is previous damage of, what do you call them, Japanese beetles, but I think they're basically gone. I don't see any, but I do see evidence of spider mites. And if I can't get them all out before November, when it's time for me to put the new cover on the greenhouse, I would just solarize this bed by putting 6 mil greenhouse plastic on top of it and let it just solarize. And then I'll just use this area to house my citrus trees, all of them except the soursops. Look at this Texas star hibiscus. Wow. Absolutely fantastic. About 14 feet high or more. I usually gather the flowers every day. I haven't done it for 2 days, so I will be gathering the flowers to dry them. Again, I think I've told you guys I make tea out of it. It has been medically proven that it lowers blood pressure, as well as I've been infusing it with almond oil for my skin and hair care products. So this is just gorgeous. I started these Texas star hibiscus with seeds that I bought on eBay probably 3 years ago. They are perennial in my area, and they come back every year. And they get the name. I'm going to go in closer to this flower. I'm standing about 6 or 7 feet away. I'm going to go in closer so you can see that star. And that's why they get the name Texas star hibiscus. Now, I won't be dehydrating anything that's droopy. that's, you know, decaying, like here and here. Only the fresh flowers I use for my tea. You probably could use the other ones, but I don't. Also, I collect seed pods, and I'm going to start some more seeds this year. Now, I'm going to show you a surprise. Let me minimize this. I'm going to show you, oh, well, while I'm here, let me show you that the two trees don't appear to have any damage. The apple dwarf trees that I put in this raised area, and I'm going to continue to work on it today as well. Now, I'm going to show you that surprise I was speaking of on the other side of the food forest. Hibiscus, and I think I mentioned it in the video. In fact, I know I did. I told you guys about how I had put some seeds right in here. This used to be a culture that was up about this high from branches from a crepe myrtle tree I had to cut down. Anyway, they didn't come up. The seeds didn't come up. So I had wood chips. I had the landscaper to spread these wood chips, the bigger pieces, toward the back with a culture. And a couple of months ago, I noticed that this plant had came up, and I remember what I had planted in that area, and it is Texas star hibiscus, just like the ones I just showed you, but they're white. And a flower you can see here is beginning to open up, and there's some more pods. Yeah. So we're going to have the white ones. Now, these are some Concord grapevines. The ones I told you guys I cut down, and they just keep coming back. I'm going to have somebody dig them up for me. But anyway, yeah. It's ironic that these Concord grapevines are growing like crazy, and they didn't even get a fungus this year, and I cut them down because they kept, I said Concord grapes, guys, correction. Thompson green seedless grapes is what they are, table grapes. And they just keep coming back. So there are 5 plants, one right here, 2, 3, 4, 5, that I grew and rooted from pencil-sized cuttings, just like I did my fig trees that I purchased on eBay, those cuttings. And they don't want to die for some reason. So I'm going to put a cattle panel back here and let them go crazy in the spring. Here's the comfrey that Bree and I planted or transplanted from a little bitty small cutting. We planted it between 2 trees, a pear tree. This is a kefir pear, and I think this is an Anna apple. If it's not an Anna apple, it's a golden delicious. It's a dwarf tree. And you can see that the comfrey, even though I transplanted it in 100+ degrees, I knew it would survive. And then we have some more Mexican petunias. That was a volunteer, and I'm letting them grow. And I'm going to let some grow right over here as well, because this is going to allow the pollinators to come in and pollinate my fruit trees. Okay. Just wanted to share that with you. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I got so much work to do. Okay, I'm going to put a cattle panel here next year, because I didn't know that the muscadine grapes grew out so wide. And I have them on this bench. Man, but it's not enough room. I might have to do 2 cattle panels. We'll see, but I'll get it done. Leaves are never getting to drop. The sudden drastic change in the temperature from 108 to 70 degrees. I think it was like 70 degrees one night. That shocked the trees. So, you know, they're going to be shedding their leaves. But the majority of them still have real green leaves. Cherry tree is taking a hit. We're going to transplant this one in the ground, and this one right over here. Okie dokie. Oh, the beets are perking up. You remember some of them were leaning pretty bad. They're perking up really good now that they have enough room to grow. In my grow boxes that I turned into a covered wagon, they are looking good. I'll go back closer so you can see again. I'm very happy that they are doing great. Guys, that I'm going to transplant some tomato plants. I'm going to put the brandy wines right over here, and I'm going to put the mortgage lifters. Mortgage lifters. And the reason why I think it'll be okay, I'm not even going to try to acclimate them outside, because if you check this out right over here, there's a wall. Behind that bamboo is my water catchment system. And you'll see a jujube tree here, a elderberry bush, Mexican petunias, and then you see the covered wagon, and then there is a raised garden bed where there's a lot of shade in this area. Since we have a windbreak and we have a shade break on either side, I'm going to go ahead and transplant these right now. I'll go get the tomato plants and I'll be back. Okay, I want to show you guys something. It's very, very sunny out here. Very sunny. But you can see it's shaded in that area over here. And that's why I'm going to put these tomato plants over there like I told you. And I'm going to plant some greens all in this bed right here that's pretty shaded. Okay? I may have to dig up this pepper plant. I'll see if I get enough room. But it's growing like crazy too. And it has peppers on the other side. Let me walk around there and show you. Peppers right here and here and all in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so when I take the shade cloth off, I'm gonna need to put some stakes in here. That's not taking up a lot of real estate. I'm gonna leave that pepper plant there. There's one down there. I'm gonna leave that pepper plant propped up right just like that and plant all around it. It's leaning because it just needs some stakes. Okay, you can see right in here, I put a cage in place. Let's get it all the way down in there. I've dug a hole down in there with my shovel. And now I'm going to remove the brandy wine. I hope I can get it in there. There we go. So that's looking good. I'm just going to pat it down, make sure there are any air pockets so I don't get root rots. And remember, this is my experiment with the 2 plants. And this is a 17-gallon pot, so it can accommodate, because you know, guys know that you can put you can put 1 tomato plant in a 5-gallon container. Okay, so I moved that, and you can see that just dropped in perfectly. I'm gonna move the cage a little bit closer to it. We grew tomatoes in this one before, so it may need a little garden lime. I just had a few squash in this one, the blue one, so it's not gonna need anything. Ladies and gentlemen, I just showed you how I transplant my tomato seedlings into containers when they're young, and put them where there's going to be a lot of shade. Okay, now I'm going to take a break, have my morning cup of coffee, and I'm going to work on transplanting some of my greens, collards, turnips, mustards, kale, 2 types of kale, 2 types of mustard, into this garden bed right over here. Everybody, it's Tuesday morning before Bria starts virtual kindergarten. We are going to plant these seedlings that we grew in our grow room. Yes. And we have another tray in the house, right? Yes. And there are 10 to each tray, so we're going to strategically plant 20 of these seedlings in this 4x8 raised bed. And it's a no-till, no-dig bed. So we're just going to put the cups where I'm going to transplant them later. I see a weed over here. See right here, Bria? Yeah. That's a weed. Gonna pull that out, and we accidentally pulled up a volunteer of a zinnia, but that's okay. And I see right here in the ground a Mexican petunia. Some people think they're invasive, and they are, but if you stay on top of them, they won't be. And in this bed, if you guys remember, we had bad nematodes that cause a fungus, which cause knotted root. And when we pulled up everything in these beds earlier in the summer, there was no evidence that it was still there. But we do have our garlic, our society garlic, still surrounding the bed to thwart off insects. And I think I see another weed right here. I'm gonna pull that out. And nothing goes to waste because we'll put this in our weed compost. And yeah, we'll get started. Now, Bria's not going to help me. She is going to be in class with the back door open so I can hear her. And for the first hour when she's in school, there are a lot of activities. So I will be out here doing this while I can keep a close eye on her. She'll only be a few yards away. Okay, I'll come back when I put the plants in. Okay, guys, so Bria and I strategically place the cups where we want them, where we want the plants to grow. And if you notice, we don't have them too close to the edge because they're going to grow big. And we're going to put insect netting over this PVC hoop house here. There's a pole here, and there's a pipe over there. So we don't want them too close to the edge. The garlic is going to do what it's supposed to do. Bria and I sprayed our mosquito spray. Be careful, sweetie. On us this morning because the mosquitoes are out. And her mother put cologne on her.
Yeah, that's why the bees can't get me. I'm not scared.
You're not scared. So we have mosquito spray.
Okay, come to me.
And I'll put a couple of these closer to the pepper plant. And we can harvest some peppers. I see a little worm or something. See that little hole right there? You have to be careful because they'll try to get your goodies. Okay, Bria, you want to come pick these up?
Yeah. I got them.
Oh, you picking some too?
Yeah.
We're going to give them to Miss Beverly.
Yes.
She's coming today after work to pick them up.
Last time we braided her hair, and now this
We gave them to her, yeah. We love Miss Beverly. I usually don't call out names, but you all have heard me talk about her before.
She's really see
75, I think, a retired school teacher, and she works at a church daycare with young kids, just a couple hours a day.
Work with me because I'm bigger.
You a big girl, yeah. But I loved her.
At
I've been doing her hair since 1992. She's like a sister to me.
Church, I can't go to the daycare.
Yeah, I know, because of the virus, the COVID. Okay, plus you go to school now.
I'm bigger.
You're a big girl. Okay, well, we're videoing, so we need to pick up you could pick up the peppers.
Can't see. Wow!
Yeah, I harvested a lot of them. You could put them in this container, and then we'll go get you inside.
Some of my big peppers are there.
Yeah, some of these are small, but this time of year, they'll grow more real fast. So if you like children,
yes,
you won't fast forward during this part of the video. Bria has been working in my garden since before she could walk. It's our garden, right, Bria?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, guys, I have everything planted in the garden bed. There are actually 21 plants here in this 4x8 bed. I was going to plant 20, but I found another one growing, another seedling that was large enough to go ahead and transplant. I'm not going to water them. You can look at the soil where I moved it around. You can see that it's still real moist. I usually add compost to garden beds when I am starting another garden for a different season, but I didn't do it this time because the emergency garden took up all my compost. And what I like to supplement compost is black cow, and it's just out in my area. So this is going to have to do for now. It's going to rain pretty soon. You see those cups over there? I'm going to take them inside and wash them and add a little bleach in the water to sanitize them real good and drain them on a large towel and let them drip dry, then put them up in the grow room to use again in January for my spring and summer garden. Now, somebody said they didn't realize how I do so much work, and I do a lot of work, but my secret is to rest in between doing a lot. So I'm going to go in and observe Bria in her kindergarten class, virtual, and take a break. Then I'll come back and I'll put the netting on. I'll see you in a few minutes. Before I go inside, I want to show you how a squirrel hid a pecan in my raised garden bed, and you can see it was taking some roots. And this is exactly how these two trees started. I found them growing either in wood chips or in a bed or in a container. And I'm going to walk to the back real quick and show you the pecan tree that I found in a citrus tree a few years ago and let you see how big it is. And I'll also share with you where I'm going to transplant these two small saplings, either today or tomorrow. Here's the pecan tree in the ground. I've been growing it for 3 years. It is 7 feet tall because my privacy fence is 6 feet, and it's about 1.5 feet taller than the privacy fence. So I'm going to transplant those other saplings in this area as well, probably right over in here, but not too close to the fence line. Okay, just want to share that with you. If you're new to gardening, I want you to know when you're growing a fruit tree from a seed, the variety may not be what you think. And yes, nut trees are considered fruit trees. It takes years. It could be 5, it could be 10 years before it will produce a pecan. But I'm going to grow these up, and then when I get some nice sized limbs, I'm going to graft them onto another rootstock, another pecan tree. That way I'll get some fruit or nuts sooner. All right, you might hear Bria's teacher from the computer in the background, but while I'm resting, I want to show you how I am saving seeds of these heirloom zinnias. And this is what they look like. Let me show you. This is a seed right here. So I let them dry on the stem of the plant, and then I just pluck off the blooms, and then I bring them inside, and then I try to remove the dry petals of the flowers, and then right there are the actual seeds. So these are heirloom seeds from Baker Creek, and I'll just put assorted because it's too hard for me to everything that I do to try to put the name on each individual dead flower. So I'll just put these all together and just say assorted heirlooms. And I'll plant them in January. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just going to keep, see that's the flower petal. I'm just going to keep the actual seed, and that's what they look like right here. So I say it all the time. Saving seeds is like printing money. But some seeds, these seeds are pretty expensive. At least I call them expensive. If I pay over $3 or $4 for a package of seeds, that's expensive to me. Okay, so we are spreading the netting on, and Bria has the clips, and we're going to start clipping it on. We will be back, right, Bria? The insect netting over the hoop houses. As you can see, the pepper plant is overgrown. So even though it has a lot of blooms on it, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it down some and let it start growing out more bushier, okay? So that we can get the netting on properly. That's just smashing it down, so yeah. I'll be back. Guys, this is just the preliminary of getting the cover on. I'm gonna make it a little bit more smoother. It's getting a little too hot out here right now. What you standing over there for, smiling, Bria?
Hi.
And I got to go inside and get Bria's lunch, but I can finish this video. When I get finished, I will pull the insect netting taunt like that over there. And I may have to cut the pepper plant down a little bit lower. Okay, so this concludes this video. In my next video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to be planting some more fruit trees in the ground, transplanting them those that are growing in containers. And I'm going to wait about 10 days before I plant this bed right over here with seedlings. That way it'll be like succession planting because those seedlings are smaller, and then I won't have to have to harvest so many greens to pressure can with meat in them all at one time. I made that mistake last year. I mean, I was overworked. So I'll do one bed at a time this year.
The end.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye now.